I was living in an apartment in a small eastern Oklahoma town. My then fiance and I were in our bedroom having a grand old time, being younger kids in love, early 20s. Our bed was pushed to the back wall and the room's door was on the wall directly opposite us, though there was this big dresser pushed up to the wall that blocked full view of the door. So we were giggling and talking, and I happened to glance over at the door. Lower down, peeking its head around the dresser, was the head of a little man. It didn't quite look as purposefully scary as that leprechaun on the cover of the crappy B-movie Leprechaun, but was close enough that that's the best way to describe its face and height. I could see its face and its hand on the dresser as it peered around at me. I remember the evil-looking smile the most. It had a big grin on its face as it looked at us. I can't remember what the hair was like, and I couldn't see much else beside the head and the hand, but the smile was what stood out. All this happened in a few seconds, though. I did a double take and it was gone. I immediately thought I was seeing things, but this was very unusual and very specific. I was not in a spooky mood, and the outline of the dresser was very flat, so there was nothing that protruded out that could trick my eyes like that. I was sure of what I saw. My fiance, noticing I had stopped goofing around, said, "What?" And I whispered that I saw something and to keep talking and laughing like we had been, so whatever it was would not suspect I was onto it. I tried to rationalize it after that and thought maybe a man, a really short man, was in my apartment, because what else could it be? I checked the doorway and nothing was there. My head was pounding and my tongue tasted funny. I'm guessing from adrenaline. I grabbed the 12-gauge shotgun out of the closet and checked the entire apartment, which was a bottom floor apartment, and found nothing at all. All the doors and windows were still locked, and I could find no other places of entry. I will also add that I'm an agnostic atheist and a pretty big skeptic as well. I generally look for rational explanations, but beyond my mind randomly making this up this one time for unknown reasons, I have no idea what happened. Nothing like that had ever happened to me before. I was in my mid to early 20s then, and I'm 34 now. It's been so long since then, and nothing like it has happened since, so it doesn't bother me like it used to. As the memory fades little by little, it's easier to comfort myself and say it was just my eyes playing tricks on me. 10 years ago, though, that would not have been the case. I have seen many weird things, but the weirdest of all is a creature comparable only to a goblin. I first saw it when I was 7. My parents and I went to visit family a few hours from home at my dad's cousin's house. I had to sleep on the living room couch as other family members all had the guest bedrooms. The living room connected to 2 separate hallways. The one to the left of my makeshift bed led to the kitchen and the den, and the one in front led to most of the bedrooms and a bathroom. I awoke in the night. I've always had sleep issues. Even now I can wake up in the middle of the night to the slightest movement or sound. Being 7, I was also scared of the dark. But I wanted to seem brave to my relatives. As my eyes adjusted to only a sliver of moonlight from between the curtains, I made out a figure, dark and dim, standing in the hallway. Its skin was uniformly dark, and it had rickety, pointed joints that, when moved, resembled Indonesian puppetry. I let out a small yelp, and immediately the figure turned its head, revealing eyes impossibly large for a human. They glowed like an owl's, seeming all-knowing, and penetrated my heart. My stomach knotted up, and I stood still as a statue. There was a skittering noise then, like claws against the wood floor as it approached me. It looked at me and then passed into the other hallway towards the kitchen. The skittering sound halted, and right after I exhaled in relief, the creature ran back into the bedroom hallway. It faced me again, cocked its head, and stepped out of view into the windowless bathroom. Then, a moment later, it popped its head out of the bathroom again and let out a small, nearly inaudible giggle before disappearing for the rest of the night. The next morning, I begged my cousin to look in the bathroom, which was as neat and orderly as it had been before we went to bed. I demanded to sleep between my parents for the rest of our stay. The second time I encountered this creature was 9 years later on Halloween during my junior year of high school. Typical that if something creepy was going to happen, it would be on Halloween, right? My friend and I were walking back from a party at 11:45 p.m. We practically walked across the whole town, but it was a safe place, and I had my car at her house for when we got back. We had no flashlights, and our meager cell phones were not the powerful smartphones of today, so we darted from streetlight to streetlight for safety. At some point, we turned onto a road that was dotted with yellowing grass lots and unruly bushes between the houses. Halfway through the block and walking by a particularly long lot, a pang of dread hit me. I ignored it at first as I had a good friend beside me and was confident we were safe. But soon after, a rustling in the bushes spooked us, spurring us to walk home quicker. We were almost to the lot's end when everything went to hell. A tangible darkness gathered in a sidewalk crack a few yards ahead and produced that creature from 9 years before. It seemed so small now, though, perhaps only a bit taller than a cocker spaniel, yet I recognized it. I could feel my blood cool as I stared at the thing. It appeared in profile this time, giving me a view of a long, rounded nose and jutting jaw before turning to face us with those haunting eyes. My friend and I both screamed, turned, and ran back the way we came. We didn't look back, didn't speak until our legs were jelly and our lungs were burning. Her house was only a few blocks away at this point, and I dared to look back. The creature was nowhere in sight. As we continued home, we talked about what had happened. We'd both seen the same creature. There were no answers as to what it was, what it could have been. The only good thing about that Halloween night was that now I knew I was not crazy. We had both seen it, the small goblin-like creature staring at us from the shadows. Thanks for watching. Goblins and leprechauns this week. Very weird. But for some videos coming up, I was thinking of actually adding some new topics to my repertoire. I had a request from a subscriber last week that I branch out to more topics other than just fairies and fairy tales, and I thought that was a great idea. These true fairy encounter stories are rare and hard to find after all, and if I stick to only that topic, I won't be able to make as many videos for you guys. Anyway, I'd love to hear any requests for stories you'd like me to narrate. I'd like to try some ghost stories and some true scary stories as well. And I'd love to hear your stories too, so please send them to me if you've got them. My email is in the description. Of course, fairies and fairy tales will remain the heart and core of this channel, so please do come back for more of those videos as well, as I will continue to make them. In the meantime, don't forget to like, comment, and share to help this channel grow, and subscribe if you're new. And until next time, this has been a visit from your Scary Fairy Godmother.